So up we went, but by this time I had the bus driver's license. So we had the week of formation, so I had the lead bus. So here we're going. Okay, you're a bus driver, fine. Now you get to go all the way to Devens, right? Fort Devens. Right? So I was on the lead bus and driving up there, and we did our time, and we were there in Devens. We're only supposed to be there a little while, but we were there from right after Thanksgiving to the must have been 14th or 15th or maybe the 16th of January. And the reason why I remember that is when we finally flew out, it was my sister's birthday, and she's a little bit of a hurricane. And it was to begin with, and we got there, and as I say, I think it was either the 16th or the 17th. And I don't know if you saw it. Now, you do remember. No, you probably wouldn't. Like they would show during this whole war, they show the troops running up and down hills and the heat and the flies and they're drinking and they're passing out from the heat. And I said, oh, Jesus, don't let me embarrass myself when I get off the plane and pass out in the heat. I got off the plane.
When you went up to Fort Devens for that training, did you know you'd be going over?
Well, they said you're activated, right? You're going to be activated. But then, oh no, they said you're activated. Then they let us know, yeah, we're going there. So, I mean, yeah, by the time we left, we had to know because we were starting to get ready to pack things up. We had packed up all our stuff. And then it took a long time because we had to get all this medical equipment and we had to load trucks. And there were delays and delays and delays. I mean, we weren't supposed to be there very long. And finally, I think they were glad to see us go. First the heartbreak, oh, you're going away. Well, we're back. Well, the heartbreak, oh, they ain't going away. We're home for Christmas. Oh, the heartbreak, you're going away. Finally, go away. I think everybody's glad to get rid of us, so we're glad. It's one of those things we're glad to leave.
So in January, you actually went over to
Went over there, right? So
when you went, and you're in the medical battalion, was your job as a corpsman or as a bus driver?
I was a medic. Well, the alleged job was medic. Okay, we get over there. So we get over there, and I'm saying, dear God, don't let me embarrass myself by passing out when I get from the heat when I get off the plane. The plane was cold. I had my jacket on. It was about 65, 70 degrees out. It was beautiful. It was nice. It was like as cold as winter, as cold as winter they had in 50 years. Okay. And we were there, we fiddled around for a while, then got onto these buses, and they drove us down to this encampment and right back into the middle of the Civil War. We were in tents, and it was mud. You look at these pictures of these tents, and you see the Civil War. Well, the only difference is that I was wearing a more modern suit. But they had some real weird stuff goes on. Outdoor latrines. You had people who could not psychologically adapt to them. It freaked them out. And it gets a little bit gamey. And we had showers. The guys would crap in the showers. So finally, if you wanted, we had a shower. You wanted to take a shower. You take a shower. They inspected the shower stall when you went in, and they inspected the shower stall when you went out. But people freaked out. And fortunately, we had a group and then the shower was never very good there, except we got these engineers from Vermont, and they straightened everything out. Boy, things were beautiful. And then we started eating in this big circus. It was like a big circus tent. So that was fine. That was good for a week. So just as we were getting nice and comfortable with this, and also the fact that we were maybe 400 miles from the nearest front line, we kind of liked that. Well, that didn't last. So they got on, and this time the story gets good. We got to go by bus. They got a bus back. They got a school bus this time instead of I had really a service bus here, and I drove that all, and I was like, the whole time it was Devens. I don't know how many miles I put on that bus. And it was like my personal car. And I had a routine. I would like, I never realized how scared we were. But I had been in a weight program and I went just about overweight. And we got up to Devon's and I would start breakfast at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'd end at 8. Because I would have breakfast and waves of people come in and I'd have breakfasts with them. And I was losing weight the whole time. In fact, I lost about, after 8 weeks of being in there and eating everything in place, I was about 1 pound lighter. Fine. Fighting trim. So, at this point, but I had a routine. I would go get the bus and then I'd go over to the airport, I'd go over to the hospital, buy my Wall Street Journal, come back. Then I would take people everywhere all day long. It's like dispatch. Take people to go do this, take people to go do this, driving the bus on them. So I'm having a good time. And then until I finally left. Well then, so anyhow, we gotta move forward. David, here's your bus. Okay, so it's a bunch of we're gonna drive. It's me and there was this young woman was she got her bus driver's license just about the same time. And we actually didn't get along that well. But, she's her, I'm me, that's all right. So, we got up there and so now we're going to move forward. So I got on the bus, everybody's loaded on, I'm driving along. And it's fine. We're on the super highway, which is really unbelievable. Then we get on this place we drive on the dirt a little bit. We get on this highway, this road called Tapline Road. Just imagine, how Route 1 is a 2-lane road. Well, this is what you've got.
What was the name of the highway?
Tapline Road.
Tap?
TAP. That's Trans-Arabian Petroleum Line Road. And this road ran alongside somewhere along the line there was an oil line, pipeline. And this road went, and I guess eventually it would go up into Turkey. Oh yeah, this is by the time we find out that we're now in Asia. And think of it. What do you think you're going to be? Says, you're not in Europe, you're not in Africa, you don't have many choices left. So this is when we find out we're in Asia. But all of a sudden they're talking about service in South Asia. Okay, that's all right. So that's fine, right? But I get on the road, but I'm about half an hour into it, and I feel a little funny. When you're driving by the seat of your pants a little bit, and I feel a little bit funny. So we get to a rest stop, and I tell them, I got this problem. I says, doesn't feel quite right. So there's no air pressure gauges or anything like that, but they go around and they tap the wheels, and they say, well, it seems like it's okay, shouldn't be any problem. So we're driving and drive in the middle of, I'm on this road, and this is, I'm telling you all sorts of stuff maybe you don't really care to know. But anyhow, I look over, and way in the distance I see these taillights of these vehicles. But the taillights are very spaced apart. They're very wide. I said, that's kind of interesting. So I'm driving along. And we're getting closer and closer over the course of maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes. We get close. All of a sudden we're together. Well, I'm going along with a bus. These are tanks. I don't know if you ever go into New Haven, it comes out and everything like that. Well, it's just like I'm driving I'm driving on 91, and I'm looking over, there's tanks going by me, like that. And we change. Then we decided to change drivers at one time. Okay. That's just fine with me because I've been driving by this girl who I really didn't get along with. She drove for a while, then I drove for a while, then one of the mechanics was driving. Which was good because the sun came up. It was, especially for these young kids, never seen anything like it. Sunrise over the desert. They had no idea, because when we left, we really weren't in the desert. And you can see forever. forever, and these roads are going by there, and these guys with the Marine Corps people in Humvees are flying on either side of the road, and it's one of these things. We're in the desert, but this desert the desert's very hard. You can drive 6 miles an hour on the road. If people would do it, you're on the highway, they want to go by, they go on the road, and we'll go in front like that, and it's magical. I mean, I can remember their eyes, I can remember my eyes looking at it. Holy cow, we have never seen anything like this in our lives. Well, it's a good thing that we had shifted drivers, because I had been right that damn something was wrong. We blew a tire. On school bus, in a convoy. Oh yeah, by the way, you know these you always see these Mexican films where they got their transfers this old school bus, and then they've got like a rack and they've got everything belonging, and then they're going over that bridge. Okay, well this is school bus, so a blown tire. Thank God. I mean, this is when we started getting introduced to the concept of the fortunes of war. Because if it were me, that bus would have gone over. I wouldn't know how to. I really didn't have the experience to know how to slow down a tire with a blown tire. A bus with a blown tire when you're doing 45, 50 miles an hour. But this other guy did. He brought it to a halt. A stop. We got off the road. They changed the tire and we got in there, and then we went up to this forward camp. It's like, just pull off the road, and we're into this camp. And we're there for a while. And by this time, we're starting to get a little squirrely. You're up there with a bunch of young kids. I mean, there were kids who were, they're classmates of my son. My son was at Southern. These people are at Southern. They knew him, and oddly enough, we didn't have any Central people. We had a lot of Southern, Connecticut State, UConn. We had and South Central, all community college, because all these kids were going to the guys to go to college. So, but it started to get a little bit squirrely, and all of a sudden, like the one thing that. The 142nd, if nothing else, it was one of the greatest social clubs you could ever join. We just had fun. We prided ourselves. We'd go out and do our 2 weeks, do whatever we did, do the training. We did the training, and we did it conscientiously, and we did it well. But we also knew how to have fun. But we started to get a little bit squirrely. And all of a sudden there'd be like, the 3 platoons had a falling out. And it got down to the point where it says, and finally, like this first platoon, they went off away. They got detached and everything like that. And usually we're cheering people on, good luck, we're glad to see them go. With the enemy had, this first platoon was the enemy. And
What platoon were you in?
I was, maybe I was I forget. I think I was maybe it's the second. I think it was the second platoon, because we hated the third platoon. The third platoon had all the, we call them the Barbie dolls. They had all these girls, and they were beautiful, okay? But they apparently didn't want to soldier very much. I mean, you're finding out who's good, and, you get a little bit of stress. You find out, well, who's, a nice person and who's a good soldier. But anyhow, I think they were in the third platoon. And what they did, one of the things I had learned in one summer camp, I learned how to run the generators, electrical generators, okay? And that got to be an important job, and I did it, right? And I would set up and the damn thing would run. Well, the Barbie dolls would get their hair dryers out and their hair curlers out. Well, a 10 kV kilovolt generator, they would trip the wire, and then, I could hear that. I mean, they were spanking that generator. I mean, it was working all over. And they were always constantly blowing the lights on that. So then we moved up to another position, and really some bad blood. We got lost. Everybody got lost. I mean, the Army had prided itself on one of the things, you have to know how to shoot, you have to pass your physical test. and you had to land navigation. And that was the Army's like pride and joy. Land, like you looking at your map, looking at, features, figuring out where you're going. In fact, when I was in the Signal Corps, the way I qualified was I took a bunch of correspondence courses. One was on this land navigation. And it turned out to be a pretty good beginning to civil engineering because they started teaching a lot of stuff. And every time you did something, you couldn't go to a really big school. Like if you went to medical school, they taught you land nav. I went to NCO school, a lot of land navigation, right? So every land navigation. And we ended in a place that has no discernible features. There's no permanent body of water in Saudi Arabia. It's, I had studied celestial navigation when I was in ROTC, and that would have done me more good, if I could have remembered how to do it, because, you could plot and they had just come out with Magellan's or GPS. Nobody knew how to operate, so we got lost, and
So you were in Saudi Arabia lost?
We were lost. We get lost all the time, So we got to this other place. We went up, oh yeah. But the only thing is, here in Saudi Arabia, oh my God, we're going to get killed. But we're at this one intermediate camp, and the next day we have to go out and get supplies to get on. This time I'm in the Dukes and a Half, and we're flying. You could literally fly on that desert. It was just like a super highway. And we went over this supply dump, and it had a corral. I said, you know what? This is like being out west. I always wanted to go out west. I always wanted to be on the desert, like, Wyoming or something like that. It says, this is Wyoming. That's not Wyoming, but it is a desert, and it's really wide open spaces. I like it here. There ain't no problem being out here. I said, hey, this is beautiful. It's nice. And it was. I'm sure you go in a Girl Scout camp, Boy Scout camp, you go out there, you see the stars. They're really bright. It's really beautiful at night. It's nothing. I was even in the Navy. You're out to sea, Nova Madeira. And then you realize that there's more bright stars than there is blue sky. Or, light. That was nothing. You went out there, and you were out in the middle of the desert, about 450 miles from any major city. No humidity, and you could see everything. Like when you look up, you see the stars like here. If you can see stars all equidistant. No, they're not. There's clouds of stars, and the clouds are different colors. And some clouds, and it's like you see dimensionality. It was so that there are some clouds of stars that are closer than others.
Did you stay at this new camp?
We stayed at this camp. Yeah, we're out there. Once we're out in the desert, we're out in the desert. But this is part of it. Then we moved up to this. It was almost like our final camp. But by this time, it's only 2 platoons. Because the first is going somewhere.
Do you recall the names of any of those camps?
They didn't have names. They just had camps. One was on, I think, something road black or transfer.
Yeah.
There's no, the only road, paved surface, is Tapline Road. Everything you're out, and we were 8 miles from Tapline Road. We were out there. But anyhow, it's beautiful out there. And there's this way, and like the stars, they come down and then just cut off by the horizon, boom. But there's no there's a haze. No, it doesn't exist right there. So, God, absolutely loved it. And I also said, I think we're going to make a spiritual journey out of this. Because you started thinking, wait a minute, Islam, Judaism, actually Baha'i, and Christianity They're within caravan. They're a caravan distance of each other. Everything, we're talking about that. Yeah, you take it and see. And Baha'i is in Iran, okay? I mean, this amazing coming together, and you say, why could it come together? And you can see why. Because, I mean, the universe, I mean, you can't avoid it. If you're up at night, it hits you in the face.
How long were you located at this final camp?
Oh, well, we went to another final camp, and then we went to our final camp. Okay, this final we went. That's where we said, okay, this is big boy stuff, and we set up. And as a matter of fact, there was a field hospital. The way they configured it, they put up a field hospital. It was an Army Reserve unit. It was inflatable. They had a jet aircraft. They had a helicopter jet engine that drove the turbine. I mean, this thing had running water and air conditioning for 4 hours. All portable. And then what they did is they took the Barbie doll platoon and they put them in a tent right in front. And what the Barbie dolls were supposed to do is that they were a clearing company. If somebody came in, okay, they would screen. They said, look, if it's something simple, you don't go to the hospital. We'll just take care of it. Out you go. If you got to go to the hospital, you do. If there's some intermediate steps we could do. And then what they did with our platoon, they sent us out I wish I remember. We were right about, we were 1 mile from like the front line, okay? There's always a front line. And we were 1 mile from there, and we're in there's this triangular piece of land, I'm sure. Is that trapezoid, whatever it is? We're right in the middle. That's called a neutral zone. It was a neutral zone between Iraq and Saudi Arabia. For some reason, neither one claimed it, but they just said, well, it's not ours, and it's not yours. And for some reason, there's this neutral zone. Why they ever had it, I'll never know. And we were there, okay? And so, by this time, and one of the things that was nice is that as the war got closer and closer, the analysis seemed to get better and better and better. Like, first it was 50,000 casualties, oh my God, and then Saddam and all his oil, like his banks and his oil, and how it's going to burn everybody. The chaplain says what they're going to do is when our guys go over the wall, then the first thing they do, they shoot these things off they call matlaks, it's explosives. Anything in the way gets killed. I mean, there's one thing about when you do static warfare, that's not a good idea because somebody can figure a way to go around it. But he thought that was going to work. And so it was funny, we're out there. Now we're on the front, you can see the front line. And you could see this, and the way you knew was, anyhow, so, and the way we know it's this front line is that you had, that's a bunch of tents set up. I guess they did refueling, they did something. And we're a mile away from them. And so Sunday was the kickoff. We got, this is when they go to do the invasion. Oh, and the other thing at this line, if you went forward to that line, they got a mop gear. So we finally get set up. And every time we set up the camp, we set it up better and better. So we go up there and we take these long electrical cables that we use for power, and we use them as measuring devices. Set up our camp. And this time we do absolutely beautiful. We do it our way. We have the interstation, we have operating rooms, we got labs, we even had a morgue, we had wards, because at this time, we didn't know, hey, we were thinking we're going to get some really heavy casualties, we're going to be ready. We're the first stop. If anybody came over the lines, we're the first medical facility around. And again, we're cleaning. And again, so anyhow, we got the kickoff. And there was nothing there to begin with, and we didn't see anything afterwards. The only difference is we saw a plane flying at altitude. Nobody flew at altitude before. You always, even if you were a regular plane, helicopter, nobody ever climbed high because we didn't want them picking up where we were. And in the afternoon, we got a, I think, one or two prisoners of war. The guy said, and then by this time you can, Jesus Christ, how you, okay, Saddam Hussein was great for treating his soldiers like dogs, the ones on the front line. And what these guys were the Iranian war vets and then the Iraq war, and he sent them out there with crapola, with nothing. And these guys are in very bad shape. And the guy had dislocated his elbow, so that was
Now,
one.
these were prisoners of war that you had captured?
Well, they didn't capture. They got captured, and they brought them in, and we fixed them up. But Jesus Christ! And then we got a couple of our guys. A couple of guys came in with shrapnel wounds, and very odd. You say shrapnel wounds. Well, it looks like they had holes in them. It's not, it's shrapnel. You feel drag and all this chicken. No, and so they had been fixed up pretty well. So we did that. And then somebody else came in. I guess somebody had an injury. They got a cut. And the doctors, right? We had these doctors. They were just running. They'd like to run. So we'd call them. So they're jogging. So we'd call them off like this. They'd come in, and like we have all this operating stuff in there. And these guys they would take a stainless steel basin. They would put it on their knees, and then the guy would put his arm out there, and they're going like this and like this. Like, come on, look, I'm waiting for Dr. Kildare here, for God's sakes, and you guys would just go, boo, 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 and then you're off you go. So that was it.
David, what was your job as a medic on a day-to-day basis there? What kinds of cases did you see that you worked on?
I drove trucks.
So your job as a medic was non-existent?
This is odd. The only time I was really, on like duty, getting ready to do any medical work, was when the war began. Other time, if you're looking for soldiers in the medical, what you're looking for, people who can drive and unload trucks, who got enough beef to do it. And so that is what I did.
So as a truck driver, did you just drive around this camp all day?
No.
Or did you
You go out and get supplies, and then you go out and get supplies, and you go do this and go do that. But I didn't drive all the time. I mean, most of the time we're just in cantonment, getting bored, or either getting ready to do something or getting bored. But it wasn't in a way, it was just like summer camp. Like you go to summer camp and you train, it's kind of like this is how you set up, this is what you do some training, do whatever. The bus I kind of left behind, and that actually had a good story, kind of nice ending to it, is the first week we're there, and we're going back a little bit. We first got in there and we had to go get rations. The only thing you get rations were and available was the bus. So I drove the bus over and came back, and then I cleaned up my bus. And there was this lady, I said I didn't get along with her very well, but she was with me. So I invited her on the bus, and we had these cases of these meals ready to eat. So we got an MRE, we had a nice lunch and a nice talk, very pleasant. We're friends ever since. And then it was just one of those things. And it wasn't, we just got along great. It was just, she's a very decent person. But, it was just like, it was just one of those things. For some reason, we just jived until we had lunch. We had this nice lunch together on the bus, eating MREs, and that was it. But anyhow, so we're up there, and this is where the fortunes of war becomes the fortunes of war. So we were doing this in the afternoon. And so what we did, we were 24-hour operations, so we had, it took shifts. So we came on the 4 to 12. So midnight comes, and we're ready to go dive from our beds. And they said, no, we're moving. Got words. This hotel, this clearing station's, a really wonderful place. It's a wonderful setup, but it's in the wrong place because by this time, the war going on all day long, and people are so far away, they're beyond belief, They're about, they said, every right-thinking Iraqi soldier was bagging as fast as he could. So they said, look, here's what we're going to do. You're up anyhow. Pack everything up. Just take the hospital down, put all the stuff away. We'll move it in the morning. And then we'll come back and get you. So sure enough, we've been up. Well, we worked all night long, but we're pretty dragged ass. It says, look, you're pretty dragged ass. You're not. It says, you're not in really any shape. Why don't you guys get some sleep and we'll come back. So off they go. And this is around 9 o'clock in the morning. Well, around 1 o'clock in the morning, they said that's 35 miles up, 35 miles back. Well, they'll be back in maybe 2 or 3 hours. Well, then, I got the feeling, I says, these guys aren't coming back.
They took the hospital away and left you guys there?
They left us with a tent. Oh, we had tents. Well, they left us with but they left us also with a very important device. That was a VCR. And they had also left us with the other important deal was the washing machine.
So how long did you stay there?
Well, this is the whole war, about 4 or 5 days. So at this point, right, so I says, there's a war going on, and this squad now, not the whole platoon, about maybe 5 or maybe 10 of us at the most, right? And one lady who was supposed to be part of the battalion, the one who told me I had to make up drills, we're out there in the middle of the desert, but we got water. And at night, we would drain a gallon of gas out of what would we do? Out of something, and would run the generator, watch the video, some movies and things like that. So this is on. I said, we're on vacation here. So this went on, right? And nobody's coming to get us. They've forgotten about us. We're starting to run for the gas, and we're thinking, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take a gas can. We're going to go to this gas depot. We'll get some gas, and we can run the generator so we can watch some movies. We're going to watch some movies forever. Well, then what happened? A truck came by at night, and they had a casualty, and they said, do you guys have a morgue? And I says, as a matter of fact, we do, but our morgue is just a dug-out pit. You wouldn't want to leave anybody there. And, the only thing we can do, we can throw dirt over the person, but, we can't leave them above ground. So they said, that's okay. So they drove off, and I said, our base camp is back 10 miles somewhere on. But the way we went, I don't know if there's no was a road. The road, but you go back there and they'll find somebody who can help you out. Well, that triggered the end of the vacation because the next thing you know, they came out and got us. The war, I think at this time, was like, it was a 100-hour war. The war is over. The fighting part of it was. And then, so they come and got us. And again, the Barbie doll platoon was very much concerned because we had the washing machine and the VCR. So they were very anxious to retrieve us to safety. So we went back, and then so we're set up. And then after the war, things started to go to shit. Because here was the fortune. All these guys came back, and they said they were coming back. They never They didn't come back, and the reason why is the war kept on going for. They ended up making this grand tour of Kuwait. You know how, how Saddam had let fire to all those oil rigs and they're burning the boat. They were through that. They went all that place and they came back. But unfortunately, and this happens to people, they thought they were Rambos. Because they even captured Republican Guard members. Yeah, Republican Guard members wanted to be captured. Okay, hey, that's where we're the ones with the MREs. Okay, we're the ones with the food, we're the waters, we're the ones, and they had this. They captured these prisoners, and the prisoner. I mean, Saddam knew how to take care of the people and how to take care of it. These guys had just got paid. They had rolls of cash. They had their tea. They're doing all right but it's time to get captured. And then what happened? It was before we went to final deployment, the first sergeant came around personally and said, look, if you find anything round and shiny, do not pick it up. Well, what's round and shiny to you? What do you think something round and shiny is going to look like? A stainless steel ball? That's round and shiny, right? That's what you think about. I don't know but think of it as your mind. Okay. What happened was that the Air Force was they would drop they call these things grenades. You go off on count. But these things go with them. Bam, bam. They get you get them. I mean, they really get you. They're powerful. And they, in fact, were round and they were shiny, like a can of frozen orange juice without the label on. And we had this medic doctor who thought he was Rambo. And he told everybody, oh, these things are spent flares. So people were picking them up, putting them in their pockets. Right? This is the rest of my platoon. And then I don't know if
Did you have any incidents where they exploded?
That's the whole point. Yeah, it sure did. Well, here's where the fun began. Okay, so while these guys are on the road, there's some explosions. People don't know what's going on. They think they're being attacked. And these things went off. There's a young girl named Cynthia Boudoin, 18 years old. Oh, God, she was a little sprite. Oh, God, she's just sweetest girl and very active. And, oh, God.
Was she killed or wounded? Killed?
She was killed. She was wounded and she died. She went under. I wasn't there for that. And then there was this doctor. This doctor and I, we were friends. I'm a little older than he is. Just, you remind me of my father. So he's a nice guy. And conscientious. But he had one in his pocket and it went off inside of it. And it was one of these things that went off inside this, they call them cut fees. The Chevy, they had them very popular. They're like a pickup truck where they got a cab on them. And it was one of those things because that went off. I mean, he was just literally in pieces on the ceiling.
Yeah, but why were they picking these up? To take them home as souvenirs?
Yeah, they didn't know any better. They thought they were Rambo. Okay? So anyhow, we know there's something wrong, so I said, well, look, we're going to make it nice for them. These guys are going to come in, drag ass, low morale, bullshit, right? They've lost 2 people. Oh, yeah, it's other people, miscellaneous interest. So we get them all set in. They come back. They're all, but by this time, they've been up for maybe 4 or 5 days straight. They're all like high, very ambulant and everything. Oh, we're glad to see you. Welcome back. Everything. Here we set up the tents for you. Everything. Just go put your stuff in. We did. So fine. This is everybody's back, right? Well, except I think I don't know where the first platoon. The first platoon really they ended up with this place and they really had a very hard time. So anyhow, we're all back. Nice day. All of a sudden, this thunderstorm comes out of nowhere. Jesus Christ, I've never seen anything like this in my life. Well, this is like, you want to be out west. You get those storms, and this is a tornado. Thunder, lightning, raining, but we're laughing like hell. All of a sudden, boom, boom. What the hell was that? They had brought them back and put them in pack sacks. And they were all in this other platoon was in their tent, and they went off. Let me see. Nobody got killed out of it. This one guy, I don't know if he finally lost his arm or not. This one lady, she's this Southern black lady, Baptist and everything. She and I were down the medical station. Just a good old. She was a good old girl, and she was Baptist, would smoke her cigarettes and drink her beer. And she got it right in the stomach. Survived. And, but not right in the head. And this other girl, she finally did get over. She wasn't hurt, but she was screwed up mentally. It wasn't like she was crazy, but she couldn't. If you're kind of touchy-feely, or if you're kind of sensitive at all, and for loud noises, that was her. But she finally did about 10 weeks. So maybe had a reunion 15 years later. She's okay. But everybody, okay. But so then that's when, so here we go. And in my platoon, we've managed, there's 100 casualties in the war. We had 2 of them from our one platoon. Then we had these other people really early. And then by this time, the war is over. And we go back to this, it's like a cantonment area. We're living alongside this. This is in early March. Everybody's happy. The war's over. They're starting to fly the first people back. We're there for about, it was the day before my birthday, until April 28th.
And you went home? April 20th?
April 28th was the day before my birthday. Well, we left. I said, for some reason I says, you know what, I don't want to turn 52 years old in Saudi Arabia.
So it was April 28th of
April 28th of 91, right? And, and by the way, we got back and boy, we really were squirrely. We really were, just mentally distressed. And people are, trying to ponder this. And I said, wait a minute. But I realized early on, I said, do not ponder stuff like this. This is what fortunes of war means. That for some reason you work this shift and you escape. You don't work this shift and you get killed. Okay? So anyhow, and then the first platoon came back. Of course, we still had this war going on between the platoons. But I'll never forget it. There was this guy in the first, but they relieved the staff, the first sergeant, so the first platoon sergeant went over to be acting staff sergeant. They put somebody else in charge, but there was this guy I knew. We worked in corrections. He worked in Union Avenue. And I worked, and Ralph Mojica was the guy's name. Anyhow, Ralph was a good correction officer. And he saw the situation about the bad blood. And so, in my tent, I always made coffee. That was one of the damn things. And so he pops up and says, they got any coffee? He says, yeah, come down and have a cup. We had a cup of coffee, and that was the end of it. Stopped. As a matter of fact, the next day we had this storm. You get these storms and everything like that. And they were in danger of losing our tent. We came out and we held on to their tent like sailors until the thing went by. And after that, actually our platoon, the Barbie platoon, well, they were doing their hair. And I guess
Do you think after that coffee incident, you served him coffee, that ended the bad blood between the
those two platoons were tight. He had away.
Did all of your platoons come home together?
No. There was a partial, well, I'm trying to think. It wasn't, way they worked it out is that, and this is like poetic justice. People don't want to be drivers. They don't want to drive trucks. Even if they're qualified and fired, they don't want to do it. Okay? That's the rules. They don't want to do it. You got to yell at them. There's other people like me. Love it. I mean, one of the happiest days of my life, I can remember when I got my truck driver's license to drive a Doosan. And man, in fact, I had licenses for almost everything.
So did truck drivers get to come home early?
Wow, this is the deal. All of a sudden, everybody wants to drive a truck. Okay. You want to do it? Yeah, sure, go ahead. Okay, so you got to leave the cantonment a week early. We're like we're out in the woods. These guys are going back, right? They're going back to, can't even remember the name of the town. Big city. And this huge place. And so they sayonara and they leave us. So they go sayonara, they're waving goodbye. And so a good part of us are still in the tent. Now we have no trucks anymore. But that's all right. We got our MREs. And by this time, there's about 4 of us who are living in this little tent by ourselves. And we have and I says, Jesus Christ, if I had some books that I could stay out. I could stay out here forever. I have enough books to read. The hell with them. I don't want to go. Just after a while, you get desert queer, and that's your life. It's like, you think about it. You go from one airport to another. You get off there. It's a different life than your life. And so our life was there, and we kind of even wondered if we'd ever get home. But in any event, so they got out a week early, right? Well, then finally, it would be the 20th, it would be the night of the 27th, they brought us over, they picked us up and they brought us over to an airport in a place called KKMC, which is Kim Kalad Military City. And this is the first time that when I swung my feet over the bunk, I was on the floor. It was asphalt, but it was a floor. Oh, my God. So we spent this day getting all ready and everything like that, ready to go, getting more and more nervous. And finally, 7:30, 8 o'clock, the sun's going down. We go through, get on the plane. And I find out the United States of America starts where you come up the thing, and as soon as you get over the combing, you're in the United States of America. No matter where the plane is, it's the United States of America. All of a sudden, hey, we're sitting in seats. Plane takes off. We're having steak dinners, watching movies.
Where did you fly to directly?
No, we flew to Frankfurt, and they realized we couldn't fly straight through because if we did, we'd be getting there. We'd be in Westover at 2:00 in the morning.
So you had a layover?
We laid over. So what it turned out, now it's my birthday, I'm in Germany, and you're on the morning flight to Westover. Beautiful. Unbelievable. It's a 747. We're in business class. Oh, it's just beautiful, man.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I mean, what a birthday present. For a birthday present, wouldn't you like a nice flight? Yeah, you take the morning flight from Germany. How can you get wrong? So anyhow, we get back, and everything is completely different from when we left. We left, oh my God, it's cold, it's Thanksgiving, there's snow on the ground. Here, oh no, it's spring. It did rain it It did rain the first day. It rained the second day. So it was rain, but it's really holy. The spring is just doing there. Oh, we flew to Westover, got off the plane. Colonel comes up. Here's the keys to your bus back, Dave.
Did you resume duties right there on Westover?
Westover. Well, we got no West. What we did in Westover. Here's the keys. There was a couple of charter buses. I couldn't keep it on, so we had to load it up the people. I'm back. So I'm back with my bus again, driving Westover and driving Devons. Over there, Devons, and we had a. That was a nice time. We were getting debrief, but then we're getting pieces. Again, really, they had so many psychological people with Vietnam veterans. During the wartime, they fly you 15 hours straight, and they dump you off in an airport. You're on your own. Well, they realized that's not the way to go. They kept us there for a week, debriefing, turning things in, and everything like that. Then we got on the bus and home for glory.
Were you discharged at that point, or were you still in the service?
We were still on active duty for a while, for about a couple of weeks. And yeah, now the people who bought the bus, were the truck drivers, right? Well, they went down all right. But what they had to do was to take all the undercoating off those trucks. And they did it with high-pressure saltwater hoses. And by this time, it's getting a little bit warmer. Like it was where we were at 127. It got up to 127, 128 degrees during the day. But it's dry. It's so dry it didn't really bother. There you got about 127 degrees with about 100% humidity. They're dying. So anybody who left early came home a week later. And I could see who was like this one guy. Because there's a few people that I had developed a cordial hatred for. And a lot of them were on the bus, were on the truck details. So, but anyhow, we go up and they come, and by this time we come up and we greet them, and they're heroes. And we all got back together. In the aftermath, as I stayed, I decided, they said, you want to do something different? I just want you to be a cook. So they wanted somebody to be a dining facility manager. So, you find that, like, I'm sure that you've talked to a million veterans. And you think, oh boy, the whole glorious homecoming, which we had and everything like that. But, I really wonder about some of these World War II veterans. The adventure of a lifetime for them, or a lifetime for me, theirs was in the adventure of the century, for God's sakes. And how do you go back to just being a person?
How was that adjustment for you?
I didn't like it. Well, one of the things I've said, where I worked in New Haven, I worked in this office with no windows. It's like working in a submarine. And so I'm saying, boy, I says, I wonder what it's going to be like going back. Especially now, and being in an area for months where you can literally see a mile. That's what, if you
How did you cope with the stresses of trying to come back and readjusting?
Well, it got a little bit, well, you got back, you did the job, and it was, I just really didn't like it. And then the real stressors began because, I came back and I was a business manager. My job was to prepare a budget. Well, that particular year, I ended up doing, I think it was 4 budgets. Because what had happened, there's another facility, Union Avenue Detention Center. They were kind of combined with us, so I did one budget for the both of us. Well, then they separated it out, so we ended up doing New Haven. Okay, there's a New Haven budget. There was Union Avenue budget, and then we were putting on a new addition. There was the budget for the addition, and then you had to do that 2 different ways, so that was 4. And then when I got them all down, as a bonus, there was this lady at the school, and she'd gotten this notice that she had to do a budget in June before she left, or she didn't really realize what she got. So, and it was a small budget for a new program, so that was a bonus budget. So we did all these buttons. But, you know, you have like the adventure of a lifetime, right? Who would ever think, you know, at that age? Because I remember saying, and I remember saying to myself in July, I says, you know, I can see this. I'm 51 years old. I'm going to retire another 5 years from the jail. So I'll just go to the jail, do my job. There's no glue. The adventures. I'm glad I had my adventure in the Navy. And I always advise people, get your adventure in first. Do something that you're never going to do. Because, like when I went to Italy, people didn't go to Italy. You didn't get in. Now, there's a million budget flights going over there. Or going to Europe. That was, are you kidding me? Well, you had to have a lot of money or something like that. Or going to Portugal. I remember when we went to Portugal, I was like this. I thought the ground was going to feel different. No. So I said, I'm glad I had the adventure and the adventure of being married and everything like that. And so then to find out, no, the adventure's when you're 51. How do you get back? I don't care. Anyhow, we're almost done. So then what happened is that, so you're getting used to that. And then all of a sudden they had early retirement with the state. They run out of money. And to make a choice. The choice is you could stay to you're 55. But we're not going to guarantee you the health care coverage. You retire now. First, you're going to retire at the same amount of money if you wait around to 55. And so, or we go. So now we're going to do this. But meanwhile, they said, why don't do something different in the Guard? I says, go to food service school. That's why I got that little diploma. So I spent the whole summer, I spent the whole winter learning how to be a food dining facility management.
And we went to for the National Guard.
National Guard. We did one summer camp, and it was the first time in my life that my legs gave out. We would loll around in bed till 4 in the morning, get up and go, and come back, maybe get to bed 10, 11 o'clock at night. There's nothing worse than food. So you want 3 meals a day? By God, we gave them 3 meals a day. And we worked like hell. In fact, we found out that when
Where were you located? At Camp Niantic?
No, this is at, went to Devens. No, we went to Otis Air Force Base.
Oh.
Out to the Cape again. Well, this time wasn't so much when you're doing food service. And we ended up doing extra duties. And then the other thing, we were pretty damn good. And we found out that when we were in Cantonment, we were getting customers from other companies. They knew our food. They knew our food was better, so they come see us. But that 2 weeks. That was the first time. Like the Friday, we're supposed to get home early, and we're making sandwiches. And by this time I'm 52 years old. And somebody said, this is a young man's game. They were right. And my legs started to give out, and so I came home, put everything away, and the adventure ends. And I put in for my retirement papers the following Monday. And even then I had to work like hell. I said, I've had enough. And that was it, and I retired.
Wow, so you retired from your civilian job and the National Guard at the same time?
Yeah. But meanwhile, of course, there's still 3 kids in college or something. So we were scrambling. But that's the end of the military adventure.
Wow, that's an extensive career in the military and lots of different jobs.
Yeah, that was the one thing is they say, fortunes of war. When I think about it, the places I've been. So anyhow, fortune of war, but like all these little different things. I was just very fortunate. And, zigged and zagged. And never got hurt on the job. Didn't even get all that muddy. Got kind of sandy. That was yeah, it's just, I mean, there are always these people who are lucky and stayed alive long enough, and I retired at the same time because I was using my pension to go to law school.
Well, that's an incredible story, David. I want to thank you for your service to our country
Yeah.
and thank you for sharing your
You know what?
story.
I'm really glad you're doing this.